The sun hung low over the sprawling hills of Montana, casting a golden hue across the vast expanse of land that had once belonged to my grandfather. I stood at the edge of the old wooden fence, my boots sinking slightly into the soft earth, breathing in the crisp air laced with the scent of pine and wildflowers. This was Whispering Pines Ranch, a place I'd only visited as a kid during summer breaks, chasing fireflies and listening to Grandpa's tall tales by the campfire. Now at 35, after a decade in the bustling chaos of New York City as a corporate lawyer, it was mine. Inherited unexpectedly after Grandpa's passing last month. The will had been straightforward. The ranch, all 500 acres of it, went to me, his only grandchild, no strings attached, or so I thought. My name is Alex Harper, and I traded suits for jeans, skyscrapers for silos, all in a heartbeat. The city had worn me down, with its endless deadlines and cutthroat deals. When the lawyer called, it felt like fate handing me a reset button. I packed up my apartment, said goodbye to the firm, and drove cross-country in my beat-up SUV, dreaming of a simpler life. Raising cattle, maybe starting a small organic farm, watching the stars without the glow of neon lights drowning them out. But dreams, as I was about to learn, come with their own set of nightmares. It started innocently enough. A week after I arrived, as I was sorting through Grandpa's cluttered office, stacks of yellowed papers, faded photos of him on horseback. A certified letter arrived. The envelope bore the seal of the Whispering Pines Homeowners Association. On a ranch, I chuckled at first, assuming it was a mistake. This wasn't some suburban cul-de-sac, it was raw, untamed land. But as I tore it open, my laughter died. Notice of assessment, $120,000 due immediately for infrastructure improvements including road paving, community fencing, and water system upgrades. Failure to pay will result in liens and potential foreclosure. My blood ran cold. $120,000. I didn't have that kind of cash lying around. The inheritance included the land, a modest bank account for upkeep, but nothing close to six figures. And what community? The ranch was isolated, bordered by national forest on one side and a handful of distant neighbors on the other. I dug deeper into Grandpa's files that night, fueled by black coffee and growing anger. Turns out, 20 years ago, a developer had tried to turn the area into a luxury gated community. Grandpa fought it tooth and nail, but somehow a loose HOA had formed among a few properties. It had been dormant for years until now. The next morning I drove into town, a sleepy little spot called Elk Ridge, population fund 200. The HOA office was tucked into a strip mall between a diner and a hardware store. I marched in, letter in hand, ready for answers. Behind the desk sat Marjorie Wilkins, the HOA president, a prim woman in her 60s with pearl earrings and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Harper, we've been expecting you," she said sweetly. "Your grandfather was delinquent in his dues for quite some time. This assessment brings everything current." Delinquent? He never mentioned an OA and $120K. That's extortion. Her smile tightened. "It's for the betterment of the community. New roads mean easier access, higher property values. Everyone benefits." Everyone? Who is everyone? There are maybe 5 homes within miles of the ranch, and they're all ranches like mine. This smells like a cash grab. She handed me a stack of bylaws thick as a phone book. Read them. Pay up, or face the consequences. I left fuming but not defeated. Back in New York, I'd handled multi-million-dollar mergers, stared down sharks in boardrooms. An HOA in Bumfuck, Montana. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I spent the next few days poring over the documents, my legal instincts kicking in. Loopholes, inconsistencies. There had to be something. Grandpa's old journals mentioned fights with a guy named Harlan Crow, the developer who pushed the OA. Crow still lived nearby, now a semi-retired real estate mogul. Maybe he was behind this sudden bill. As I delved deeper, the ranch began to reveal its secrets. Mornings were magical, dew-kissed grass, the lowing of the few cattle Grandpa left behind, the distant call of eagles. I hired a local hand, Jake, a burly 20-something with an easy grin, to help with chores. "Your granddad was a legend round here," he said one day while mending a fence. "Fought off developers like a grizzly protecting its cubs." That hooked me. The story wasn't just about the bill, it was about legacy. Grandpa had poured his soul into this land, turning it from barren scrub into a thriving haven. I couldn't let some greedy board steal it away. Nights blurred into research marathons. I discovered the HOA's formation was shady. Signatures forged, meetings unannounced. One evening, as thunder rolled in, I found a crumpled letter in Grandpa's desk, a threat from Crow years ago, promising to bury him in feces if he didn't sell. The hook tightened. This wasn't random, it was personal. Crow must have seen Grandpa's death as his chance to pounce, forcing a sale through debt. But he picked the wrong owner. I wasn't some city slicker who'd fold. I was a fighter, armed with law degrees and a burning sense of justice. Word spread in town. At the diner, folks whispered encouragement. "Give 'em hell, Alex," said Betty the waitress, sliding me pie. Even the sheriff, an old friend of Grandpa's, tipped his hat. "If you need backup, son, holla." I started building my case. First, I requested all HOA records, minutes, financials, everything. They dragged their feet, but I filed a formal demand under state law. Meanwhile, I reached out to the other members. There were only 4, 2 elderly couples who'd signed on unwittingly, and a young family struggling like me. We met at the ranch one crisp afternoon, sharing stories over lemonade on the porch. "This is bullshit," said Tom, the family man. "They want our land for condos." Together we formed an alliance. I drafted petitions, uncovered that the improvements were bogus. Roads leading nowhere but Crow's undeveloped plots. The 120K funneled straight to his construction firm. As autumn leaves turned fiery, tensions escalated. The HOA sent inspectors, nitpicking violations, overgrown weeds, wildflowers, actually unpainted barns, rustic charm. Fines piled up. One night I caught trespassers surveying the land, Crow's men. I confronted them with the shotguns unloaded, but they didn't note, channeling Grandpa's spirit. "You tell Harlan he's messing with the wrong Harper," I growled. They scampered off, but it lit a fire. I filed a lawsuit, fraud, racketeering, the works. The town rallied. A local reporter wrote a piece. City lawyer takes on rural tyrants. Donations trickled in for legal fees. Jake became my right-hand man, teaching me ranch life while I taught him legalese. Amid the chaos, something bloomed. Sarah, the reporter, with her freckles and fierce curiosity, started visiting often. "This story's gold," she'd say, but her eyes lingered longer. Walks under starlit skies turned into confessions, my city burnout, her small town dreams. The ranch wasn't just land, it was healing. The court date loomed. I prepped relentlessly, evidence stacked like cordwood. Crow, smug in his suit, underestimated me. "Boys playing cowboy," he sneered. But in the packed courtroom, I unleashed hell. Witnesses testified to forgeries. Financials showed embezzlement. The judge, a no-nonsense woman, slammed her gavel. Show dissolved. Assessments voided. "Crow, you're fined $500K for fraud." Cheers erupted. Outside, townsfolk hugged me. Crow slunk away, empire crumbling. The ranch was safe. Hours that night around the bonfire we celebrated. Jake strummed guitar. Sarah leaned on my shoulder. Grandpa's spirit felt present in the flames. I'd come for escape, found purpose. The land thrived under new stewardship, community gardens, eco tours. No more isolation, connection. Years later, as I watch my kids chase fireflies, I smile. They picked the wrong owner, alright. But in fighting, I found home. The victory in court was just the beginning. With the HOA dismantled, a weight lifted from Whispering Pines Ranch, but the land itself needed revival. Grandpa had let things slide in his later years. Fences sagged, the barn needed repairs, and the herd was down to a dozen head. I rolled up my sleeves, determined to honor his legacy while forging my own path. Jake stuck around, becoming more partner than employee. "We're in this together, boss," he said with that infectious grin. "First order, assess the damage." We rode the property on horseback, mapping out priorities. The northern pasture, overgrown with thistles, could be cleared for hay. The old well needed dredging, and the cabin by the creek, Grandpa's fishing spot, begged for restoration. Budget was tight, but the court's ruling included restitution. The $50K from Crow's fines funneled back to affected owners. I used mine wisely, hiring locals for work, boosting the economy. Sarah became a fixture. Her article had gone viral locally, drawing visitors curious about the ranch rebellion. We turned it into opportunity weekend tours showcasing the land's history. "This isn't just dirt," I tell groups. "It's stories etched in every tree." Sarah handled PR, her passion igniting mine. Evenings we'd sit on the porch planning dreams. "What if we added a bed and breakfast?" she mused. "Eco-friendly, off-grid." The idea sparked. We renovated the guest house, adding solar panels and rainwater collection. Guests arrived, city folk like I'd been seeking solace. One couple, retirees from Chicago, stayed a week and left inspired. "You've got magic here," they said, but challenges lingered. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the hills. The herd needed shelter. We built a new barn just in time. One stormy night, a calf got stuck in drifts. Jake and I trudged out, lanterns swinging, pulling it free. Exhausted but triumphant, we warmed by the fire. "Grandpa would have been proud," Jake said. Spring brought renewal. Wildflowers bloomed, mirroring my heart. Sarah and I grew closer, her laughter filling the ranch's quiet corners. One sunset, by the creek, I proposed with Grandpa's old ring. "Will you make this home with me?" Tears in her eyes, she said yes. The wedding was ranch-style, hay bales for seats, barbecue feast. Town as guests. Even the former HOA members attended. Toasts raised to new beginnings. Crow, he sold out and left his schemes in ruins. As years passed, the ranch evolved. We expanded sustainably, organic veggies sold at farmers markets, horseback lessons for kids. Our children, 2 boys and a girl, grew up free, learning responsibility amid nature. Jake married Betty from the diner, building a cabin nearby. Looking back, that 120K bill was a blessing in disguise. It forced me to fight, to connect, to build. The land isn't just inherited, it's earned, nurtured, and in its embrace I found joy unbounded. Whispering Pines thrives, a testament to resilience. If trouble comes again, we'll be ready. After all, they picked the wrong owner, and we turned it into the right life.